Good morning, everybody. How the heck are you? We had a little bit of a scary moment last night with Blue, and we'll get into that later. But right now, we're up early. We're gonna hit the gym and kind of get moving this morning. This morning is truly a perfect morning to ride, and that was my original plan for this morning, was to go work out, then get a quick ride in. But we had a little bit of a scare last night with Blue. The property owner here who lives here, and we've got great help here, they called and said, hey look, Blue is acting a little weird. He's laying down, he's not really being himself, so like, can you come check on him? Maddie and I, of course, raced over here and checked on him, and he wasn't in bad condition, but you could definitely tell that he was not feeling 100%. He was, they had gotten him up and kind of walked him around, made sure he wasn't laying down or you know, anything like that. So that was good, but he was super gassy, real lethargic, real, you know, kind of like just deadhead almost. He wasn't his natural self. Took him to the vet. They scoped him. They gave him some electrolytes. We put him on some Banamine, and then brought him back to the house. So I'm just pulling up. I'm gonna kind of take a look and check out him and make sure he's okay. And then I think he should be good. He looks a lot better this morning than he did. Hi, buddy. You all right? Doctor's orders last night were no grain, just hay for a few days, and so he's all upset because his grain bucket is empty and everybody else got grain. But Jose gave him some alfalfa and he's still not happy about it, but he looks much better. Obviously you can kind of see he's got a bit of life in him and his personality is back. Last night when Maddie and I got here, he was just kind of standing over here with Jose and was just being, you know, real like sluggish, and just there was no life in him, essentially, is what it kind of felt like. I mean, obviously he was still living and breathing, but he was just real kind of, you know, blah about it. Just kind of when you feel poor, you know, you kind of just feel that way. And so he looks much better. He's obviously eating. It looks like he drank a little bit last night, and so that is all good signs as compared to yesterday. So I think what we'll do is let him get some of his breakfast here and then turn him out in the pasture. The vet said that was okay, and kind of let him continue to heal up from it. So all great things. And I should mention that whenever I got here, I did check for gut sounds on both sides of him, kind of on the higher side and on the lower side. He did have a lot of gut movement, and I really think at the end of the day, it was just some gastrointestinal like gas. Because whenever we were walking him, like to load him up into the trailer, whenever we got him to the vet, he was passing a lot of gas. And so I think that was probably really what it was at the end of the day. He pooped in the trailer, which was a good sign. He had eaten some of his hay and he had eaten some of his grain last night before we took him to the vet. So all those were great signs. But, you know, for us, it's better safe than sorry. It took us 2 hours to take him to the vet and get him checked out and have the doc look at him and give us some Banamine and kind of, you know, just make sure he's okay. So it was certainly worth it. I know a lot of people probably wouldn't have taken him, but you know, any sign of colic, I would rather just take him and make sure, have a vet look at him, scope him, put some electrolytes and fluids down him, and yeah, so he's good to go. Kind of ruined my plans for the weekend because I was planning on roping this weekend. Obviously with this, we'll let him recover for a bit before we get back into training mode and go into any roping. So I kind of squandered that plan, but I'm glad he's okay. Morning check is done. I've got to run into town, but I will be back this afternoon to do an afternoon check. We're going to turn them back out in their normal pasture. So I'll come back this afternoon and kind of check on him. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. Made it to the ranch. I need to unhook the trailer and go check on Blue. I left the trailer intact just in case we needed to make a quick run to the vet, but at 15 miles to the gallon and Blue's doing much better. I don't think I need to lug this thing around anymore, so we're gonna go ahead and get this unhooked. Per the doctor's orders, Blue cannot have any grain for a couple more days, and then he gets 1,000 pound dose of this Banamine in the evening. So we gave him to him last night. We got to give it to him today and tomorrow. They just got fed probably 10 minutes ago, and it doesn't look like either one of them is super hungry, but that's all right. It's still pretty warm. They'll get to it as the evening progresses. And then one thing I need to check on is Blue's water buckets. So I filled both those up last night. Jose filled them up a little bit this morning. We turned off this automatic water just to make sure that we knew how much water he is actually drinking. So he's had quite a bit of water, and he's had plenty of hay, so he looks good. Hi, buddy. Hi, my guy. How are you? He looks good. He looks hot. I think Jose brought him in probably, you know, an hour or so ago from being turned out all day. So he looks good. I guess I should probably listen. Good on that side. And good on that side. And all I'm really listening for is like just some movement, some like gurgles, some sound. And you know, if you can't hear that, and they've been colicking, or they kind of have symptoms of colic, you want to, you know, maybe call your vet at that point. But I always try to listen to them a little bit, and you just want to listen kind of down around this flank area. This is where a lot of their intestinal tracts are. And it probably goes without saying that if you have a horse that you're kind of worried about kicking you, or that you're not super familiar with, don't do that, because that's a good way to get kicked. But on horses that you really know, like Blue, you know, I've done that plenty of times with him, so I'm not too worried about it. Blue, the question is, are you going to be good and let me give you this Banamine? He does not like me sticking this tube in his mouth. So yesterday he kind of gave up a fuss about it, and I think a lot of that was just him not feeling well, but he really does not like me to put Banamine paste in him or deworm or anything like that. So he'll probably put up a little bit of a fight. Sometimes you can just kind of sneak it up on them like that. Hey. That was easier than I thought. You know, overall yesterday was pretty tough. It's never fun having a horse that's colicking or feels poor or anything like that. And so, you know, I think Maddie and I were talking about it yesterday. We're just so unbelievably grateful that we've got a great barn owner that we keep our horses here at. We've got great hands that help to make sure our horses are in good condition. And I mean, honestly, if I had just had them at a boarding facility where I went home for the day and that was kind of it, we may not have found him until the morning. And in scenarios like that, sometimes they're too far gone. Like the colic is too bad that you just can't recover from it. So yeah, fortunately, it was early on and it was very mild symptoms, and we were able to just take him, you know, right down the road to the vet and have them take a look at him, and kind of help us out and diagnose everything. But you know, if you don't catch it quick enough, sometimes it can really get out of hand. So I'm just super grateful for that. What? You're being very clingy today. The vet visit was not too expensive yesterday, fortunately. I think it was like just shy of $400, and I know colic surgeries can be $5,000, $10,000, and I'm sure more than that depending on how long they have to stay in vet care and overnight, that sort of thing. So fortunately, it was no big deal. Very minor symptoms. Was very inexpensive as far as that goes. So yeah, all in all, could have been way worse. Ready to have you back in action, buddy. That is going to do it for me today, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you for all of the amazing messages and comments that we've been getting, especially over on Instagram, talking about this guy and his little scare the other night. So yeah, just appreciate all that. The horse community is fantastic, and when something like that comes about, I know that everybody jumps out and reaches out and just, you know, says their prayers and their best wishes. So we certainly appreciate it. Mr. Blue is back in action. See y'all.